What's going on? It's Dan right back at you again here at 302 Fishing. Welcome back to the channel. I'm looking out here and it's going to be an absolutely ridiculously windy day. I'm not even kidding you. It's 15 to 20 mile an hour continual gusts out here as we're speaking right now. You can kind of probably see the trees whipping all around here. So I was going to try to come out and fish a bunch of baits right here, but again, with obviously the wind being the way it is right now, I'm only going to put my focus on one bait, and I'm hoping we can be successful with it today. So again, I ran down to the bait shop right here, and I said, you know, what can I use? And, you know, obviously you're using the tried and trues, but you want to try to find something that's a little bit different in a variation of another bait that you have been using for quite some time. Everybody's got the original chatterbait that's in their box, whether it be white, chartreuse white, black blue, green pumpkin, you know, the traditional size right there. But then the chatterbait split it off into two different sizes. You've seen the mini chatterbait that we've had here a couple times and had some great results with that tiny little bait. But then they came out with the other end of the spectrum right there, and that is a chatterbait with a big old blade on the end of it. And you guessed it, guys, we're going to come out with the Chatterbait Big Blade right here. I've been seeing people fishing with this thing on multiple episodes, and I'm curious to see if our bass here are willing to hit that big fat bait. I mean, again, orange from like the bream, you know, their underbelly of their stomachs and everything else like that. You've got that color right there. Of course, you got the chartreuse and white, which is a pretty popular color for a lot of these bass around here and everything else. But that big hexagonal blade, that's going to create a whole bunch more vibration than your normal chatterbait. So I'm hoping it'll get those big mamas up on the end of the line. I'm going to go ahead and pair it right now with a Gambler White Lightning trailer. I want to thank the gentleman who recommended that to me while I was at the bait shop right here. So we're going to pair these two together, tied on the end of the line. We're going to start casting around, and hopefully if we get lucky, guys, we get a big fat green bean bag up on the end of this big blade bait. All right, so we're going to be going with our spinning combination today. I'll talk about that later on in the episode. I don't want to bore you with more talk. But we want to do a slow roll presentation today with that chatterbait. That's why I specifically picked this combo right here rather than my bait casters. Because, again, we don't want to be too super aggressive because we're trying to get fish on the end of the line. It is chilly, and I'm sure that water's cooled down just a little bit more from the last time we were out. But, again, I just want to bring your attention here. As I mentioned to you, the chatterbait has seen a different amount of variations to it. So most people obviously have seen the traditional chatterbait right here. That's the original chatterbait. And again, it's the same profile, that nice little bladed hexagonal blade that's on there along with your skirted jig that's on the end of the line right here. Then they decided we're going to go ahead and get the micro chatterbait out. And here's that, guys. Look how tiny that blade is right there. So this thing is pretty effective if you want to put that out there in your waters and everything else, man. Big fish, little fish, they'll all chase this thing right here. But again, you're going to see the major difference right here of the original chatterbait to the big blade bait. I mean, it's no joke. So here's your original chatterbait, and there's the big blade, guys. That thing is at least 3 times bigger than what you're seeing right here on my left-hand side. So, man, these fish got to be feeling that thump in the water, I'm sure. So let's get that tied on the end of the line, man. Let's start working, man. Let's try to get that fish there that'll react on this big blade bait. It's ridiculously windy out here, guys. It's thoroughly disgusting, but we're gonna make the best of it, man. I'm trying to get through this episode without having to wear a heavy coat, man, because it kind of binds my arms up, man, with casting. So, but I effectively layered. I got 3 shirts plus this hoodie on me right now to give me a little bit more movement. But we'll get this tied up using our handy dandy Palomar knot, and then we'll get that trailer on the end of the line and we'll start moving the bait around. One thing I'm going to tell you guys is when you're using trailers on here, especially with the chatterbaits, a lot of people put the hook through like the flat part of the bait right here, and the hook's coming through the big wide part. I always tell people turn it sideways and put the hook like to make it look like it's an actual fish. So if you notice, the bait is sideways on the hook right here. I'm gonna take it off here. See how it is? So that way when the bait's going through the water and that tail's fluttering around, it looks natural and it looks like a fish. Because when you have it the other way, it's just flopping this way, and that fish don't swim that way, guys, obviously. But let's get that out there and see if we can get our first bite on. But we're not gonna spend a lot of time on these ponds, man. We're gonna be going fast action here. Jumping from pond to pond and trying to get some fish. Nice clear water out here in this pond. But you can see all the ripple out here. Wow. Nice vibration on that. This pond has really settled down as of late. It was really cloudy. But look at that thing bounce around already. The gear ratio on this here is 5:1:1. This is my Silver Max reel that I have on here, which is on a, I would assume a 6'6" or 6'8", 6'6" Shakespeare Ugly Stick. And we have 10-pound test line that's on the end here. Berkley Trilene XL Smooth. Goals 1, 2 fish if we can get it. Look at that blade, guys. Isn't that insane action here? I mean, that thing is seriously wobbling. There's a fish right there, guys, already. Oh, man, that was a hit too, guys. I will lose my mind, man, if we get a giant one on the end of the line with this bait, man, because this thing has got them some serious kick on the end of the line. I bet you this color would be pretty good, man, for chain pickerel, because of that orange blade that's on there. It's always important to keep that blade free of any kind of debris or algae so that this thing can float or come through the water properly. But you watch my bait as it's going out there, you'll see how hard that wind is blowing. It's blowing it. There's a fish right there, man. Big one, guys. It's a big one. We got one on. Oh my goodness gracious, guys. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh man, oh man. Wow, 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 wow. Look at this donkey, guys. Woo! There you go, guys. There you go. Nice. This is what I love about fishing, guys. Holy crap. I took maybe a dozen casts to get that fish right there. Look at that blade bait in that fish's mouth. I felt a huge thump. That thing was barely in there too. Wow. Pretty, pretty, pretty. Let's get a quick weight on her. I knew those fish couldn't resist that big loud thump. All right, what do we got for a weight here today? 3 pounds, 3.63 pounds, guys. Wow. Almost a 4-pounder to start off the day on this episode. Reaction baits are starting to work again, but man, this fish is cold, 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 cold. But let's get this pretty mama back on its way here. Let's get into some clear water. You guys can see that release a little bit better. But wow. It's always good to get the day started off early, guys. That water's frigid. And she's gone. Boom. Somehow I'm getting the knack of picking the right baits, guys, to put some nice looking fish on the end of the line. Alrighty then. Way out there, guys. That's where I figured they would be. Oh, I'm happy. All right, let's get it back out there again. Whew. It is chilly, I'm not gonna lie, guys. After I put my hand in the water. But even in that cold water, them fish are willing to bite. You can see me jerking my rod that way because there's debris on it. I can see that the rod tip stops shaking. So if I hit a couple jerks, it usually knocks whatever is on that blade off and gets it back to working the proper way. Even in the wind, that thing cast a ton. But this combination I picked on purpose because of the way I want this thing to come through the water. Making our way up the road right here. It's about maybe 6 miles away. It's about 10 minutes. We're gonna go into another development pond. I'm trying to stay away from the pond I know I can pretty much get fish on if I put that bait out there. I've never used that big blade bait, but of course I caught some with chatterbaits. But if it gets to the point where the only fish we've got so far is the one you saw at the beginning of this episode, we will definitely travel down there. We do have time to deal with. It's still early in the day. It's only maybe 1:15 right now. So I want to give these other ponds that I don't put a lot of attention to their chance before I make that easy drive down. So let's get to that next pond, start casting around, and again, let's see if we can try to get one of those big ones on the end of the line. Let's see if the gamble's worth it. Man, I'm coming 35 minutes opposite the direction I was at in those last 3 ponds. I want to try to get one more on the end of the line. So let's cross our fingers and let's see if we can try to get another monster to hit up on this beautiful bait here, man. That Big Blade by Chatterbait. We got 1 hour to make this happen. Oop, got our line already in the trees already, guys. All right, let's stay out of the trees, Dan. That was the first cast. It is getting really, really cold right now, guys. That temperature is straight dropping. My hand's about numb as anything. I gotta get out of this headwind, guys. This is too much. So let's get the wind to our back. So far, we're striking out here. Last chance, guys, last chance. I've stayed out about as long as I can, man. My hands are absolutely frozen right now. That's how cold it is. I don't think it even got to 40 degrees today. There's a fish right there, guys. After all that time. All right, man. It took us 6 hours to get to that fish right there. There you go. 6 hours, man. My God. That was a long time, man. That fish slammed the daylights out of that bait. I love you. That was the best fish I ever caught all day long. Look at that nick on the top of its head there, right next to its eye. Nice little stocky little fish. It's feeding up. But let's get it in the water. Send her on her way. Let's get over here. The better stance here I can get. But let's send that fish on its way. Thank you, kind bass. And she's gone. Man, that took a long time to develop. I knew it was only a matter of time before something else hit on this fish. I didn't realize it was going to take that long to put that second fish on. But I'm casting out into the sunny area coming towards me. I've got the headwind going away from me, so I got the wind to my back. But That water is clearly cold as hell. But I'm just creeping that chatterbait. I'm surprised that fish hit that thing as aggressively as it did. But that fish was right there, pretty close where that fish struck at. He must have been trailing it for a while. But if my hands aren't cold, they are now, man, with that water, man. Look how red my hands are. All right, just for the heck of it, guys, I'm just gonna go full bore, fast as hell, and just burn this bait and see what happens. I'm just curious. I don't think these fish will be coming after that bait, man, if it's blazing through the water and it's cold as sin. But here we go. There's a fish right there, guys. Are you kidding me? Wow, they went after that fast speed. Holy crap. There you go. Just on a whim, I decided to go ahead and move that bait a little faster, man. Who would have thought? I mean, it's cold as anything. And she's gone.